I don't even know how to do a hard turn towards this one. This is something
horrific.
I care a lot about. I've followed this case for many, many years, and that is serial pedophile predator Larry Nassar. So you guys will recall he was the doctor who was attached to the University of Michigan, who was also attached to the USA Gymnastics team. The USA Gymnastics team, the female gymnastics team, largely, adolescent females, teenage girls, who he would routinely, over a period of decades, was molesting under the guise of quote-unquote medical procedures. He was able to fool many parents, regulators, police, agents, so many folks. Everything ultimately caught up with him, and he's now in jail, I think, for hundreds of years. But there's a new Inspector General report from the Department of Justice, which will make your blood boil. So let's put this up there. It came out yesterday. A long report that says that the FBI's handling of the sexual abuse case was completely subpar. They found that 70 or more young athletes had been sexually abused by Mr. Nassar, but that specific delays within the FBI's office led to dozens more young girls getting victimized in the interim period because of their lack of investigation. It said specifically, and it points to this one agent whose name is Abbott, W.J. Abbott, lied to the Inspector General's office numerous times when it asked him about the Nassar inquiry. He gave false statements to, quote, minimize errors by the Indianapolis field office in connection with this, and he violated FBI policy because he spoke with Steve Penny, who is the president and chief executive of USA Gymnastics, about potential job opportunities with the U.S. Olympic Committee, even as the two were discussing the allegations against Mr. Nassar. I'll put that tweet up there. I want to underscore this for everybody who is watching and for everybody who is listening. The special agent in charge of the Indianapolis field office, who was in charge of this investigation at the time of questioning USA Gymnastics about Larry Nassar, was asking about a potential job opportunity with the U.S. Olympic Committee, specifically at the exact same time that he slow-rolled that investigation. The slow-rolling of that investigation cost the innocence of so many young girls who are out there. And there were lies and obfuscations by the FBI at every step of the chain. And I can't help but think, Krystal, given what you're doing your monologue on and more, which is that it is amazing to me, and I'm doing my own on Epstein, about what these people just look away from and let go. And meanwhile, there's a photograph of everybody who happened to, be in Washington or whatever on January 6th. There are people like sitting in jail. And, in terms of the things that do get the political impetus, these things never get botched, all of that. And then sexual predators like Larry Nassar walk free for, look, every day that man was free was a day that he victimized another young girl.
Yep.
And I have listened and watched documentaries, podcasts, and more. He was a monster of the highest order. His neighbor's daughter, so these are young girls, full of innocence. And
as young as
up
8.
to him.
As young as 8.
They looked up to him. They thought he was their special healer or whatever. And the way he manipulated the community, and then the most disgusting part is how these people stood for him. These FBI agents and the USA Gymnastics and the University of Michigan and many of the prosecutors even were involved in the state of Michigan, and the cover-up around this, all the way up to the U.S. Olympic Committee, a cover-up of the highest order that happened here. And looking at it, it's crystallized. It's hard to even put some words to it, given how each additional instance means the robbing of innocence of another human being.
Well, we don't even know how many young girls he ultimately victimized. We know hundreds for sure. This was over the course of at least 30 years. Where he was put in a position of power over these young girls, again, as young as 8 years old. And over years, he would groom them. They were required to go to treatment with him. when girls tried to come forward, they were dismissed like they were the hysterical ones, like they were the crazy ones.
They were taken off the Olympic team. That's what happened. The one girl who came forward.
For 30 years, every single adult involved failed. And then when there finally is supposed to be an FBI investigation, this dude who's in charge is too busy trying to get a job with the Olympic Committee to take this predator down, enabling him to victimize dozens more young girls because you all weren't doing what you were supposed to do after 30 years of delay and allowing this monster to continue in these positions of power and trust. It is truly disgusting. And as you alluded to, the monologue I'm doing today is about how the FBI, as you all know, during the War on Terror, I mean, they would consistently invent these plots that they could then go in and disrupt with much fanfare. We now know with this Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping plot that they had at least a dozen informants involved. And there are real questions over whether, was this a real plot that was going to happen?
More than the suspects?
Right. more than the people who've been indicted. So they're spending all kinds of resources basically inventing and then disrupting, quote unquote, these terror plots, which again, in the War on Terror was documented time and time and time and time again. But when you have a real predator and monster who's victimizing young girls on a near daily basis, you can't get your act together to take this guy down. It's truly disgusting and beyond words.
Look, I mean, and we said dozens. The number is estimated to be 70, but I say dozens because we don't know.
Yeah.
And that's the number in between when the first allegation, between July 2015, when USA Gymnastics first reported those allegations to the FBI, and August 2016. He victimized 70 people, estimated that the low end, it could be 100, could be even more in that interim period. That's what Mr. Abbott, the special agent Abbott, and I want to say his name as many as possible because it's amazing to me how these people just slink away, into the darkness or whatever. And this should follow him for the rest of his life. And we pulled the heroic testimony of Allie Reisman. She's one of the Larry Nassar's victims. Let's just go ahead and listen to what she had to say.
Larry, you do realize now that we, this group of women you so heartlessly abused over such a long period of time, are now a force, and you are nothing. I am here to face you, Larry, so you can see I've regained my strength, that I'm no longer a victim, I'm a survivor. I am no longer that little girl you met in Australia, where you first began grooming and manipulating. Treatments with you were mandatory. You took advantage of that. You even told on us if we didn't want to be treated by you, knowing full well the troubles that would cause for us. Lying on my stomach with you on my bed, insisting that your inappropriate touch would help to heal my pain. The reality is you caused me a great deal of physical, mental, and emotional pain. You never healed me. You took advantage of our passions and our dreams. Your abuse started 30 years ago, but that's just the first reported incident we know of.
She's really a brave woman. And there's another one, Maggie Nichols. So I actually watched a documentary on her. It's called Athlete A. She was one of the first people to report Nassar's abuse, and she was taken off, not even as an alternate, and she did not make the U.S. Olympic team.
Wow.
Because specifically retaliated against, because she was brave enough. Her and her mom were willing to stand up to all of these people who wanted to cover up what was happening there. It's one of the most ridiculous situations. I believe that she's very happy now. I think she, did university NCAA gymnastics, but she never got to go to the Olympics, and it's because she had the courage to speak up about that.
Yeah, Simone Biles, top gymnast in the world right now, also, a survivor of his abuse. So just disgusting the way that every single adult involved failed because they wanted something for themselves, because they were in it for, they didn't want their organization to look bad. They didn't want them to look bad. They didn't want to rock the boat. They didn't want to miss the job opportunity that they thought they might have coming to them. Yeah. Absolutely disgusting. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching.
That's right. Just as a reminder, you can become a premium subscriber today. Watch the full show completely uncut, our reactions to each other's monologues. You get to listen to it. You get to ask us questions, all that good stuff. Link is right there in the description or at breakingpoints.com.
Best of all, great way to say screw you to the mainstream media.